Hi everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Sexton Soccer Stories with me, your host Brian Sexton. A happy new year to everybody. Hope you're tuning in. Look forward to the year ahead. We've got some fantastic guests lined up. So from me and from everybody at Sexton Soccer Stories, a happy new year. Welcome to another show. Today I'm absolutely delighted to welcome a former teammate, Nottingham Forrest, Morton and Kilmarnock legend, Alan Mahood. Alan, welcome to the show.
Hi Brian, thanks for having me.
How was your journey in today, Alan?
It was different. I've seen a few sights on the train as you do, but no, we're here alive.
Brilliant. I can only say thank you so much for taking time out your day to in between your holidays to come in and speak about obviously your journey in football. So the podcast itself is about football journeys from former and current players in our beautiful game. We're here just to enjoy ourselves and go down there. Hopefully it brings a wee bit of happiness to you when you realise how good a career you had. So I'm just going to delve straight back into the bottom. You were born in Kilmarnock.
Yep.
And how did you manage to get into football?
It was just through playing my school team, and it was a guy stayed down the road with my gran and papa, had a wee under-9s team, so he asked me to go along to that. It was Ardea Thistle, and joined that, and then it kind of progressed from there to another Kilmarnock Colts. And then on played with Rangers amateurs, under 12s, under 13s, and Valspar, these kind of teams. Big Jake Anderson, as you know, Big Jake was a scout at Morton at the time, and I played with John at Rangers, and Jake asked me along to Morton, and that was basically how I got in there.
Were you and John Anderson a similar age then at that time?
We played the same. I was going to say we still are the same kind of age.
Aye.
But we played under 12s, under 13s with Rangers. And Jake just asked if I'd go along. So we didn't actually train, we just played games. Jake just arranged games.
Yep.
A Tuesday night up the Broomie. I don't know if you remember Broom Hill, but
very cold.
Aye, that was putting it mildly. That was in the summer.
Was that in the Ash Parks?
It was the Ash Park, so it was a kind of wee bit of eye opener as well for that. So you're playing with these boys that were the Greenock, the Port, and the Hardy boys.
Yep,
and
absolutely.
It soon kind of was a wee wake up call, because you maybe a wee bit of sand dancer, if you like, and you had these boys flying in on the ash and stuff. So you soon learned it was that's how it was.
Aye. So when you said you were playing at Rangers, were you travelling up to Glasgow then?
We used to train at the Old Albion.
Okay.
Went in there, I think it was a Tuesday and a Thursday night, games on a Saturday. It was a time, I'm sure it was Jock Wallace might have been the manager around about that time. Spenny was that kind of year older, John Spencer, Swiggy, all these kind of boys. So we used to go up there and train, and like I say, played at the weekend. Yep.
So when obviously the Morton had came kind of training at Morton, when did you decide, or when did they decide, no, we want a better look at him, we want him to kind of come and stay with us?
Well, Jake asked me to sign schoolboy forms when I was 13. So I went up, me, my dad, my brother went up, the gaffer was there, Alan Mahood was there, and signed the forms, and ever since then it was going in on holidays. So you go in and train the April, or you go in and train October, school holidays or whatever, and then gradually I was playing in the reserves. So it was quite surreal, just still at school, and then a Monday night or a Tuesday night getting up to Caplow playing the reserves, and then back to school the next day kind of thing. And it just kind of progressed from there.
So for a lot of younger listeners, like an S form would have meant you had to kind of stay at that team at that particular point, and then you would train, and obviously, as you said, you done your school work during the day, and then you played a game at night time. So when you played in the reserves Monday or a Tuesday, whatever night it was, and you played that game, then the next day you'd be back to school. So when you got to about 15, 16, was that you playing regularly then in the reserve league at that time?
Just about, probably about 15, 16, I was getting away with the first team pre-season up north and stuff. And again, when, like I say, at the holidays, I would come in, but then I'm now training with the first team boys, and because they were kind of part-time, full-time, if you like.
I remember.
Like I said, Eric McInnes and Mark McGraw, and them were in. So they would go in and train with them. And then like I say, you would go away up north which was another eye opener up north with the first team. Because I'm 15,
Absolutely.
16, and these guys are like 28, 29.
Yeah.
Married with Wayne's herself, probably not much
was
younger
Ian
than I was.
McDonald and
Ian McDonald,
Big
Bogey, Martin Doak, Mark Pickering, all these guys.
All their experienced pros.
But it was great for me.
Absolutely.
Obviously, I get taught a lot of stuff on and off the park.
Absolutely,
But no, for me as an education, that was second to none.
And it's a great grounding for you and a great learning curve. That's what I felt anyway, that these guys, plus they looked after you as well, but when you were on that park, it was every man for themselves. They wanted to make sure that...
Well, I always say, like, these guys are, as I said, grown men, and if you're holding on to the ball too long, they're no longer in getting you a slap.
Absolutely.
So you don't hang on to the ball too long again, and you learn to move up a wee bit quicker and play with them and that. So again, that's brilliant for me.
Amazing. So you obviously spoke about the gaffer there. I still kind of mention him as the gaffer. Would see a massive influence in you signing then full time at that point, or did you feel I'm really comfortable here?
I think it was just by going in during the holidays and stuff and meeting all the guys. So I wasn't going into anything new.
No,
I wasn't moving to another club. I feel like it was the path was already there for me to go in and just keep progressing. And just for the gaffer, I mean, he always looked after the young boys.
Absolutely.
Didn't matter what age you were.
No.
It was always a gaffer to everybody, and you could go to the gaffer with anything. And I think a lot of the boys did go to him with non-football stuff as well. But I think him and John McMaster as a team are great. We were speaking earlier before we come on about John, and he just wanted you to play and to do well. And we were on the ground staff, and he used to like have us out for hours after training, just pinging balls. And I remember one day we were in the centre circle, and you might not remember it too fondly, but I remember you and the three other boys, Dixie, Quinny and Big Stevie, on the corners, and John's pinging balls into me and shouting a name, and I had to turn and ping it to you. And
I think that was when I was doing my memory. Were you coming back for injury then, or was that just
part? No, that was just
as we were progressing?
Aye, that was just a.
But again, in the ground staff, I think that built you as well, because I'm sitting saying to myself, I want to do that.
Aye.
I want to be the guy that's in the middle, pinging balls out to people. And obviously we talked about it, and maybe now that you're young or older and you're looking back, you just wanted the best for you, and you're out there practicing singing balls for 2 and 3 years, and obviously you're thinking now, aye, he actually did. He just wanted to make me better, you know.
But there's the other side of that, as you'll remember as well. We used to clean the baths. We used to mop the flares. We used to do whatever it was, paint the wall, whatever we had to do. And sometimes, depending on what mood John was in, and he'll probably hate me for telling folk this, but he would walk down the ash path, and then come into the dressing room, walk round the dressing room, his ash over his feet, into the back, no good enough, get it done again. And I'm going like that, I'm looking at my Casio watch going, I've got 2 trains to get before I get home and walk 20 minutes home for but that was John. But then you think, I'm going to do that better tomorrow. And they come in the morning and go, that's fine.
See, I like that when
so it's always standards, you know, always pushing you to be better, and not just on the park, but off the park as well. Right. And I think, without sounding like an old dinosaur, I think that's the problem nowadays with young boys. They don't realise what they've got, and they need to work harder off the park to become a footballer. It's not just, I'm going to be a footballer and I'm going to have tattoos and a big watch and a fancy motor. It's all the other things that come with it as well.
Is that your advice to the kind of younger listeners that are want to play pro? That I think you need to, you need to. You've hit the nail on the head there. I think away from the park, you need to do more.
Aye, and it's more about what happens off the park, how you deal with stuff that comes your way, like all the adversities, and maybe getting released for a club. But how do you make that better? How do you just going to go and moan about it? You're going to go and work harder and go somewhere else, or is it going to be somebody else's fault? Is it going to be? Sometimes we don't take enough ownership and just say, right, I could have done more.
Absolutely.
No, I'm going to take a step back and see what I could have done better and go and do that.
Will you ever fall to the Alan McGraw and John McMaster shouting you in the tram lines? They just shout you up and you'd sprint up faster, 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 and they just come in and say, how you doing? See you later. And then you just close the door.
Must have just been you.
we had some fun ground stuff, and it'd be like, oh, it's your turn of the day, you know, and the gaffer, they would and you'd walk in and they would say to you, What is it?
No.
I see you shouted us. No, we didn't. And closed the door.
It was the gaffer's room up the top.
Right at the top, that's right.
I mean,
that was brilliant.
Sometimes you get in there and the gaffer, as you know, his knee had went and there was blood everywhere and he'd banged his head and you're just looking in, you're going, wow. But again, he never let that get to him.
No, and he used to unlock it and then put you back up and then thanks very much. So
take his pills and that was
it done. Brilliant, great times. Great guy.
Brilliant.
Sad day in the news he passed, but a fantastic guy, and he looked after me, and he obviously looked after your selling.
There's so many people that could tell stories about him because that's what he done. He wasn't just a football manager.
No. So we move on, and you're kind of signed on now. Did you go pro at the time when you signed?
Well, I went...
Or full-time, I should say.
I was supposed to join the YTS, for the younger viewers. That's joining on the ground staff.
Yep.
And I'd played in the first team the last game of the season. I was 16, played down at Ayr. I got on as a sub. And then I was supposed to join the ground staff that following season. And we'd been doing pre-season, everything had gone all right. We played with Whitehill Welfare away. And can still see it to this day. Boy took a throw in and I've went to flick it and the boys come in and done me. And it was one of the ones you get down, you go, I'm a bit sore that. So I come off, I limped off, and John McMaster went, stamp it and run up and down, and that will get you back on. And I was like, I said, John, I can't. So we went, go in there. We didn't have a physio because we were I was with the reserve in the first team, or playing the older Whitehill team. So I remember walking away to the dressing room, about 3 miles away, and I got in, I ran a tap, filled up a sink, stood and lifted my leg up into the sink just to try and get swelling. I didn't really know what I was doing, but I thought I need to try and do something. So come out, Mark McGraw and Derek McInnes gave me a hand out on the bus. And I'll never forget, I had next to the cricket jumper thing. I thought I looked $1 million. And it was Jackie McNamara Senior took the Whitehill welfare team, and as Derek and Mark were helping on the bus, Jackie walked by and went, they want to get injured, that's a terrible jumper. I was going, but so going to the bus all the way home, just knew something wasn't right. Didn't sleep that night. The next morning, my dad took me up to the hospital, get x-rayed, I broke my ankle. So if I gone full time, that was me. There's no point. No. Because I couldn't do anything. So I had a cast on, I was going back to school, but I wasn't interested.
No, of course.
So I'm getting into school and thinking, it was terrible. Now, the head teacher pulled me in and he says, listen, what are you doing here? And I went, I'm killing time because I need to be fit before I can get my job.
Absolutely.
And he says, what are you going to do? I says, I'm going my test with Morton. And he said something like, was that a carpet firm? I went, aye. Like, no, I said, it's football. And he, all right, neighbour. So I had to then just try and get back to fitness. But again, that was all I was focused on. And then I got that off. And then I went back to playing with Bonnet and Thistle. Purely to try and get fitness.
Where were they in Kilmarnock?
Kilmarnock, aye. So I was back down there and I was playing me up front, I was scoring goals and I was loving it, just having a great time. Won their tournament a couple of times, doing it at the Rizal Park and stuff. And then when I was basically fit enough, I then went in YTS, became full-time, I feel
Absolutely. Like. And then signed on. So you've signed on, you're away pre-season, and then when does interest come for Forrest then after that?
I think I made my first start in the Scottish against Meadowbank. I think we beat them 3-0. I'd been on a couple of times, reserves, and then into the first team squad, then on as a sub, and just as a gaffer, didn't just throw you in. I think we played Kilmarnock as my first start. We beat them 3-0 at our place. And I was up against Tommy Burns, which again...
fantastic.
Surreal, aye. And then there was a wee bit... I was doing training with Liverpool. Went down there for a couple of days. And then I was just, as a gaffer done, the gaffer was good at generating interesting young boys. And then I flew down to Chelsea. Me and my dad flew down to Chelsea to speak to them. It was a Saturday. I think they drew nothing each. Southampton, I can't even remember. And after the game, we're in the lounge and there's like John Major and David Miller, these folk, like MP, but that didn't interest. I didn't.
No, that's it. Who you are, aye.
So they asked me to sign, and my dad's like, he says, it's up to you who you sign for. He says, but London's a big place. He says, you get in there, you might not see you again. It's one of the, and I think at that time, now you're talking about 1990, 91, there was a garage had just been converted in one of these big plush areas, selling for £1 million. That's back then. So to live down there, my dad's thinking, man, I'm on £32.50 a week at Morton here. By the way, I'm ITS. I'm
you were
sitting
buzzing
here
when you get 45 quid.
So I didn't. You just don't get a feel for places. And then we played.
Who was it was trying to lure you there? Then can you remember?
It was
the chief scout, was it? Or?
No, manager's name was Bobby Campbell.
Right, okay.
Sure, it was Bobby Campbell.
Would they have put you up in digs and that then? Was that kind of discussed?
It wasn't even.
Really? No, it wasn't even.
As far as I can remember, it wasn't even.
No.
Didn't get that far. But then playing away, and then we played Motherwell at Fir Park in the quarters of Scottish. And drew nothing each. In that game, somebody went in the box for Motherwell, and I blocked it. I think it was Ian Angus, and I blocked the tackle, and my knee opened up. But again, adrenaline, you just play on.
Just kept playing, yep.
So nothing each. We played our place on the Tuesday. But I couldn't play. My middle had went, but didn't really want anybody to know.
Absolutely.
So I always remember we were doing it. C Mill, there was interest in Big Reed at the time, so they were wanting me and Big Reed to go in a double deal to Rangers. But John Wilson, the old chairman, obviously wasn't daft. He was wanting separate money, so he got me there. So I always remember there's a picture, I think my mum still got it somewhere, like Big Reed is in the pool down at C Mill, and I've got all my clothes on, he's kidding, he's pulling me in. And the photographer's going, can you not go? I says, nah, I had a bandage in my knee, this is before. So couldn't really tell anybody. So anyway, the replay he played, and I think Brian Clough was at the game. I'm sure he was. I think it might have been a Wednesday. I flew down. Me and my mum and dad flew down to Nottingham.
Did you feel yourself you'd played well though in that game?
The Motherwell game?
Aye.
Maybe naive, but I was just a young boy. I just wanted
to play, aye.
And if somebody tells you done well, you are.
Aye, I done well, aye.
As you got older, you start to analyse your game.
Of course, aye.
I could have done,
you play with no fear, didn't you know?
No, and I look back and you watch the highlights and you go, could have done that.
Of course, aye.
But on the day, you're just a young boy.
But he's obviously seen something in you and took you down there.
Well, it was through his chief scout again. I think Alan Mahood was, he was the kind of main guy pushing it.
So did they sell themselves to you, no bother then?
Well, went down and he just, I had hindsight's a wonderful thing, but I'd never been out of Kilmarnock before. I wasn't allowed to go down the shops in case I get my money taken off me, and then all of a sudden I'm thinking, nah, I fancy going down to Nottingham to live in a strange place with nobody I know. But again, it just felt right, and they were playing. No, Roy Keane was just he was there, so he's a year older than me.
Actually, had a wee look at some of the team, and like the big centre half, Des Walker,
Stuart
Pearce captain,
Nigel Clough. All these guys.
Was that what, 1991? So they just won the trophy that year as well, didn't they?
Well, the FA Cup. Well, I was at the final, so I'd signed in the March.
Right, okay.
So I gets down there on the Wednesday, and I thought, I'm having this. So I was meant to come back and speak to Rangers the next day, and my dad phoned whoever the link was to say, no, he's going to sign me. So I'd have been soon as his last signing at Ibrox before he went to Liverpool.
Aye, so in hindsight now, you might have been left in the doldrums then if you'd went, or you don't
know.
know, that's it.
I could have stayed at work. I could have made that a kind of easier decision in hindsight, probably should have, but you could have stayed at home and then travelled up every day, and you're still in your own environment.
Absolutely. So you signed in a March, and for me, a record fee, £250,000. Were you aware of the fee?
No, really. I think it was actually 300.
300. Aye, but 300,000. That's Mr. Wilson might have put it through as that, but 300,000, which is a phenomenal record fee. They'd have been delighted to get you. It's a snip in today's game to get a young talent that they can mould. that didn't even come in your mind because you're young, you just want to play football?
It's no something.
No, you don't.
I just wanted to play.
Absolutely.
The unfortunate thing was, when I signed, I was obviously injured.
Did you do a fitness test or anything like that?
No, I done a medical, but they just said, like, that'll heal you. You're a young boy, that'll heal
fair enough,
in time. But I didn't train again to pre-season.
So that's what, 3 months really, 3.5 months? No.
Aye, so I went down there, and every day the boys are going out to train, and I'm going in with the physio.
I've been there, it's not nice.
It's a young boy and a new environment. You don't. So I'm only getting to go with meet up with the boys after training.
Aye.
So.
And at 18, you're not taking part in the fun, the training and all.
You don't get to build relationships. And I mean, I was still staying with I was the age I was staying. All the young boys stayed in a big house.
Big house, aye.
That was run by an ex-player and his wife and another lassie helped him out. And across the road, Roy Keane, Gary Boyer, and another boy, Ray Byrne, Irish boy. They stayed across. It was a cul-de-sac, so they stayed across the road. So meal times, everybody used to come in, and it was like dinner hall, and everybody sat and eating. And then, but again, the young boys, I get signed for a bit of cash. So already, I'm the same age as these boys, and they're all still doing their duties after training, and I'm no.
And they'd have been a bit envious of that then.
Well, right away they're thinking, wait on a minute. So I always remember there's one boy, what was his name now? Bobby Howe or some Geordie boy. I had went down the sign, come back up the road and got what I perceived as my worldly goods, right? Probably my portable and my jammies, aye. And remember going down and probably, I think my man dad roped it. I can't even remember, I flew down or something. And I took all my stuff into training, and then the chief scout went, Bobby, show Alan Mahood Dugs because I didn't know where they were. So I'm walking behind him, I've got all this stuff, and he's walking in front of me with the horns in the pockets. Now,
thanks very much, mate, for helping me, aye.
Anybody else you go.
Absolutely, keys your stuff.
He right away, because I think he was highly thought of, because we're the same age, he's probably thinking, this guy's in to steal my place here. So that was right away. Don't get me wrong, they weren't all like that.
No.
There was his wee following were probably like that, but I was good with other boys, and so that was up until the summer. Then come back up the road for the summer, and then when I went back down, I ended up getting into digs with an older couple, who were lovely. George and Money. Every night, 6 o'clock, bang, they went to bingo. That was them every night. That was
fantastic, isn't it?
That was their religion every night.
And do you think they were, obviously, when I done the same as yourself, you go trial, they pick somebody, but I didn't realise that they're so close to the management team. So they take the phone calls and how are they getting on in there? Is there anything happening? I quite enjoyed that.
I think they knew I needed somebody to look after me.
Aye, yep.
And it wasn't somebody to keep an eye on me. I wasn't out. No. Like that was just somebody to make sure I was getting fed and watered and make sure I was all right. But they were a great couple, but the only thing was I didn't drive when I was down there. So this was across the water for the rest of the boys. So, I mean, to be fair, boys would come and get you in the motor and pick you up and go to pictures or whatever you go out. But Saturday night, I didn't drink. At that age. Drink now, but I didn't drink
but
it.
We didn't drink
then. And so, I remember one night trying to get in to the boozer, and the bouncer just looked at me. I looked about 12.
You were very young looking at it.
Bouncer's just looking at me. And I was like, mate, I'm not even... I didn't even want to come in. It was just because the boys were coming. I thought I needed to.
Aye.
But one of the stories was, so when I went down there, they were on a good run, the FA Cup. So the semi-finals, they played at Villa Park against West Ham. So I was on the bench, but no stripped. I was
just there to get the atmosphere and get experience and everything else.
So I travelled with the boys and that. Now I'm, again, Brian Clough, Scotsman. That's right, Scotsman. Need a shave. And I'm like, what's that? Shave? Yeah, idea. So I've got like Shaggy or Scooby-Doo.
Wee bit of bum
fluff. the cat could have licked him.
Yep, aye.
So I'm going like that. What do I shave for? I'm like, so Scott Kelmer went, I've got a razor. And I'm like, mate, what? So he had this thing. I think he just liked to be in topy and
standards and whatever else.
So that night, they beat the end to get to final, so everybody went back to Trent Inn, I think it was called. And Stuart Pearce, like, right, Kid Mahood, you're coming, you're in. I was like, I'll not get in. He went, you'll get in.
Aye.
So takes us in. He went, any hassle, just come and get me. So I'm like, brilliant. Could start a fight, you know.
Aye, it's
But obviously
brilliant.
I wouldn't. But I think a big bouncer come up, and I was like, Skip. He's like, he's all right, leave him. He's like, no bother. So it just depended who you were in with.
It's fantastic, isn't it?
But then they went all the way to the final, and we ended up back at a cup final suit and everything at it. And we all travelled down for the ground on a train. We all travelled down together. The first team, they were away.
Yep.
Obviously, I wasn't part of that squad, but
all the young boys that were involved.
I always remember coming back for the semi-final. So I was sitting up the back of the bus, and I wasn't really interacting with because I wasn't there long, and that's the first team. There's got no through the headdress, and somebody like Stuart Pearce is sitting. I couldn't stop looking at him.
Aye.
And he must have been going, yeah, it's this weekend. And every time he turned around, I was like that.
Oh, caught staring.
Aye. But I felt it just going, here's Stuart Pearce. But again, it's just, it's guys you've seen on the telly and seen in the World Cup and whatever, and you think, wow.
And since that day, have you been trying to grow that beard then?
Still trying.
Aye.
Still trying, mate. It's just
a wee while.
Just not happening.
So when you went in then, you've went and done a pre-season with them after they've won the Cup. Did you then start to just enjoy yourself and feel a wee bit part of it then?
More so, I ended up going away to Sweden with the first team.
I remember you went away.
And they'd signed Teddy Sheringham by this time and big boy Carol Fletcher. So it's talking £2 million.
Yep.
That's a lot of money.
Yep. Teddy Sheringham was just different class.
Different class.
So you've seen him up close, and Pearce and Roy Keane and all that. Do you think to yourself, I belong here? Or was there anything in your mind that would say, I don't belong?
Looking at their physiques, because I'm 8.5 stone, soaking wet. And again, hindsight, if I should have been doing weights and stuff when I was injured for the 3 months, but I wasn't, because I didn't really.
No, we didn't have that. No.
There's obviously a weights, like a gym area down there, but
no
wasn't
programs.
Something.
No.
But if somebody, and I'm not again passing the buck, but if somebody just said to me, go and do weights, I went, no bother. But it wasn't something I thought about. But I could have been using that time to
the ability to get yourself.
And again, told a story to a girl we met in holiday. She was talking about Teddy Sheringham, and I was saying we're away in pre-season and it was roasting hot and couldn't sleep. I can't remember who I was sharing, Scott Gemmell or something. We goes out into the corridor and the boys have got a golf club and they're playing this thing and they're sharing them standing with just his slips on. I was thinking, wow, that could turn me. No, I just thought that is, I wouldn't mind looking a wee bit like that. But,
he was some player though, and
he wasn't fast, but he just had this ability to just play and he could see a pass and all that. But he obviously fitted into that kind of style of play. But again, went away the pre-season and
you played in every game. 3 games, was it?
Well, there's 3 games and Clough says if he's won the 3 games you'll get £500 each, and I was like, £500?
Aye, absolutely.
And the boys are all going like Des walking and going £500 and Sheringham going £500, it's hardly worth it. I'm like,
aye, please, where do I sign up?
Aye, so I think we won 2 and drew 1, so we never got it. So again, we're going back to the airport and going out to the hotel in Sweden. And I'm sitting in a bus and the physio comes on. He's like, Alan, the gaffer's looking for you. And I was like, what? So I goes up and stay and like, Gaffer. He's like, right, Scotsman, that's you, you're in charge of that. This black briefcase, man. I'm sitting up beside me in the bus and all the way there, and get to the airport, all the way home and go back to the stadium. I got Gaffer. So it wasn't the next day or 2 days went in and the physio's like, do you know what was in that briefcase? No, he's like, 25 grand, he's like, in cash. He says he was going to give everybody
the £500.
See if I'd done on that, I'd have jumped a different plane.
That's frightening.
Back up the road. Aye. But
that was just the way, the man, that was just 25 G's in a suitcase.
You're in charge. If I'd have known that, I'd have been
Thank you very much.
Shake
You've
it,
just
aye.
left it to nervous sandwiches. What was he like as a guy then, just quickly? Was he a kind of a very imposing figure? Because when I've obviously never met him, and you've seen him, he looks like a guy that owns the room. He's a kind of...
I think by the time I got there, he was kind of coming towards the end of his career, if you like.
Was Nigel in the team at that time? Aye.
Nigel was one that he was last into training first away, never hung about.
No.
Just nice guy, but just didn't. I don't know if that was
because his dad was a manager, so you just don't know.
But after going for Alan Mahood, who you could go and see about anything, and I've known since I was 13, and you get down there and this guy's bringing his dog to training, the dog's running about in the park, and he's like, there's days that he would be, I could hear him coming, I'm jumping into a cupboard to hide from him, because if you didn't, he'd be like, here, take that dog for a walk. You're walking the dog in the training's going on. Just daft things. Like, but obviously you hear about the boys that were with him for long enough that can't speak highly enough of him, and
of course.
that's obviously there.
Perception.
I can only speak about what I knew him, but very intimidating for a young boy getting down there, especially when, I don't know if I've said to you before, but the day I signed for Forrest, he wasn't even there. He was away filming they all used to do these shredded wheat commercials, both of them and Kevin Gale, these guys. So he was away filming that when I signed. So when he did come back to training, Big Alan Hill, the chief scout, went, I'll introduce you to Gaffer. So, Gaffer, and I'm walking over. So you're the Scotsman I've wasted all the money on. Turns out he was right, but that's not the best.
No, it's no
booster that you're looking for. But I don't know if that was just his way.
It must be. So you can obviously done your pre-season, and then things weren't really working out for you.
No, I felt down there again. You know yourself under John at Maestro. Running was part of our training. Running. Yep. I don't mean we just ran, but it was part of the training. And I went down there and I thought, I'm not fit. I need to get fitter. And I remember asking, I think this guy was in charge of the kind of young boys. I can't remember the boy's name. And I says to him one day, can you take me out after training, just time me doing a few? He's like, as long as you don't get caught. I says, what do you mean? He's like, Gaffer, I'll be happy if you're doing extra. Because he thought whatever we were doing in training was enough. But it was like 5 sides, which sounds great. But I just needed
a wee bit extra.
And I was playing in the reserves, and I was playing like outside right, and then I was playing outside left, and a couple of games I played in the middle. I'd be done all right, scored, but then the next week I'm back out to the left, and I'm back out. So it was almost a year. It was Ron Fenton, the assistant manager, pulled me in and they went, it's not working, is it? I went, no. No. I says, I'm not making excuses. I says, I'm not playing a regular. I don't. He's like, well, he says, any good player can play anywhere. I said, that's fair enough. I says, but I'm just maybe not that kind of player. I need maybe a wee 3 or 4 games in the middle and just play. And then eventually I think they contacted Morton. Basically said, you want first dibs on him? So when I heard that, I went, I had my bags packed, running up the road, my portable.
Yep. And obviously I was at Morton at that time, and when you come back, and it was brilliant because we all knew you is leaving. So it was sold to me as well that we bring you on, and if you're good enough, we'll do our best to move you on. And when you come back though, it was great, for us, for the young players to tie in with that experience and see you firsthand now up front. So don't be getting big headed with that. But that's what the boys did. The boys kind of, when we seen you coming back, we kind of were like, "Aye, we can actually improve here." But it wasn't until I seen you, and you were obviously still not fully fit at that point. I remember when I was out injured. I don't know if you came back to Morton with an injury, or did you get injured when you come back? Can you remember?
No, I come back and I just wasn't fit.
Aye, I remember you doing I don't know if you remember me joining you sometimes, before games, used to do doggies and all that.
That was horrific.
We used to get hammered, remember, for about an hour. And we'd maybe played in the Thursday and we didn't do well. But I remember we were trying to get you fit again. And John used to just say, we're going to hammer Alan.
The the box, 6 to 18 to halfway.
And we were all fit, as you know, and obviously I just remember you getting pummeled and I don't know how many weeks it went for, but it felt like it went for eternity.
Felt that long. But I think it was even more soul destroying because then the boys that were starting the game were all warming up and I was doing that round about them. And then I was coming in to get showered while the boys were getting ready to go. But I knew why he was doing it. I knew there was a purpose
you needed to do it. So when you found yourself back in and ready to go, what was that, about 19? Were you about 19 then?
19.
So can you remember when you made your debut then again for Morton? Not your debut, but your debut back again.
Second. No, to be honest. It was just, again, it must have been one of the things you just played with reserves and then eventually your fitness came and you get put back in.
Yep. And that's when I first played with you in the reserves and it was great because you were in the middle and I was kind of wide left and that was the first time we'd seen you and it was like, oh, this is brilliant just to get to see you. But we knew, all the boys in the ground staff, we knew that the first teamers that come in, remember they used to come in if you get a bit of fitness back, so Big Rafferty would come in and play maybe for 10 or 15 minutes and or somebody would get 45. I liked that they brought you in maybe for 45 and then gave you the break and then brought you in for 60 and then ready to go. But then once obviously we were involved in the ground staff, I remember you making your debut again. It was 92 it was because I'd just signed and I think you actually played the full game. And I remember you kind of saying to me like on the Monday, you've never been more tired in all your life and it's bizarre, isn't it?
It's weird how different, I mean, obviously that training regime worked for them, but didn't work for me. But someone else that works for me might not work. It just depends. But I just remember coming back, and obviously we're full time then at Morton, and I'd played, and then I think I was doing all right, and then the next hurdle come up because I got injured.
That's right.
So we played Wraith. Somebody sent me it the other day, actually, not that long ago. We'd played Wraith. And I'd scored one with left foot into far away corner, we trundler into the bottom corner. And then you can actually, doesn't show in the highlights, but I always remember running in for the right and the Wraith defence were coming up and it was McInnes lifted one out and as I've run in, Tam Carson, I think the goalie, he come out and I've went to flick it over his head and he came down and pushed these two hands on my knees. I was like, oof.
You felt it.
I felt it, but I played on and you can see in the highlights, I mean, I'm limping into the box and Derek Collins swings one and I've heathered. That was the second one, but as the camera got my eyes are black. And I always remember going in at half time, my gaffer's like, half. Gaffer, I'm on hat try. Half. So I didn't play again. But obviously we got to the B&Q Cup final. 13th,
was that at Love Street?
Love Street,
aye.
13th of December it was, aye. And I hadn't really played, but I was getting fitness tests, and it was one of the ones, a cup final. And we stayed down at Irvine, down at the...
Seymour Hydro?
No,
was that a different year?
Hydro's near a large at Irvine, just at a big roundabout. I can't remember what it's called now. Back in the day, we stayed down there. I always remember night before the game, the electricity cutting over. It was one of the ones. It was hundreds of bad omens. And they had a wee pitch and putt course, and big John Tierney had strapped me up. Gaffer's like, couldn't have a run, so I'm running. I'm like, fine, brilliant. So gets to the final, and everybody's high as a kite. I think it was about 3 minutes gone, and Alan Ferguson's in goals with Hamilton. So Fergie takes a bike kick, and as I've turned, my studs caught in the grass, and I've just felt the pop, and that was me when I went. That was me for done my cruciate.
About 18 months or something injured.
14.
It's horrible, isn't it?
14 months.
And who was in that? So when you were in that team, then was Derek McInnes, Derek Collins, Big John Anderson.
No, he wasn't.
No, yet. Picky at left back.
Picky and Big Dougie
Derek
Johnson,
Lilly.
Martin Dock, Derek Lilly, Alec Matthew.
Yep. So a fantastic team as well.
Good team, aye.
Aye, really strong.
Aye.
Do you think if you get injured, if you hadn't get injured, do you think you would have helped them win it?
Well, Paul McDonald was playing with Hamilton that day and he's a pal of mine, so I would have beat them.
Aye.
No, he keeps reminding me of that still.
Okay, exactly, I know, but you can't, that's it.
I think people say to me you shouldn't have played, but I think the injury had already happened.
Aye.
So it was going to happen.
Happen at any
at
point.
some point.
Aye.
So I ended up getting a silver medal for getting injured. But
so where did you go then with the hospital?
Went to America.
Was it?
Flew to America and get the dead man's Achilles tendon in my knee with the screws and stuff. So I've had that.
So did you go over there with your parents then?
No, I just went. My cousin came with me, and it was the gaffer's pal, Neil, lovely guy. So we went and stayed with him, and he took me to the hospital and stuff.
How long were you away for then? Was it?
Wasn't long.
Did you need to do any rehab over there?
Well,
or was it all?
It was funny because I got this thing in my knee, and it wouldn't bend. So they took all the stitches out, and I felt as if they're pulling them out for here. And I was in a wee machine every day, and it just helped me bend my knee. It was like a wee thing you strapped in it and pressed the button, it bent it for you. And then I went back in the day before I was due to fly home, and the doctor had a look at it and he said, "That's no bending." He says, "If that doesn't bend, we can't let you go home." I was like, this time I'm ready for up the road.
Absolutely.
So he says, "You get two options." He says, "We just put you in a machine, puff, crack it, or we put you under anaesthetic." And
please, I'd rather that, thank you.
So they put me under, and what have I done? Bent this, bent it, so that I could manage to
get
fly
back home.
But again, I come back to Morton, really thankful the club paid for it.
It's fantastic.
Brilliant, can't thank them enough.
No.
But then you come back here and the club's basically a part-time club.
Yep.
So I'm having to go to
Brian Scott,
No, Paisley Hospital, RAH, for physio. 2 days a week.
It's crazy, isn't it?
So you spent all that money, and I'm gone here and I'm working with. And again, in fact, I met a woman, I think Frances was her name, that sticks in my head. I met her at a speakers thing in Edinburgh a couple of years ago, and she was looking at me and I'm going,
I remember you.
Aye, so you're thinking, you spent all that money, surely. But I went to Lillishong stuff as well.
Of course, aye.
But on a day-to-day basis, I could have been back maybe quicker, 14 months out. But I could have been back 8 months. If it's nowadays, you're back 6 months.
Aye. And you're on it and you're doing rehab right away and you're cycling and swimming. And
you're right into it.
Different, aye.
But you go down to Lillishong, you're down there a week or two, and it's good.
Aye.
It's no what you need on a daily basis.
Of course, aye. So that's it. You come back, takes you a wee while to go back. Did you find yourself that you were always going to get back? Or was there a few dark nights?
Aye, there was a couple of times I remember, especially at Capello. One day we were on the pitch training, and I've tried to, whatever I've done, I've went to control the ball on my left foot, but I've kind of stood on my right and jarred it a wee bit, and I panicked. And I remember just going down, and the boys running over, and they're going, "You all right? You all right?" But I was all right, but it was just like fear. So then I was kind of getting back, joining in training. Then you're playing again, reserve games or bounce games, whatever. And my first game back was big Martin Doak's testimonial against Rangers at Capello. And so I'd be about 20 then.
And did Derek move to Rangers at that time? No, still?
No, I was still there. But Louis Durante and all them were playing. And I came on, and I remember it probably was the right player to go for my first 50-50. It was Peter Hoostra.
Aye, good.
So they two
like boys together. Thank you very much.
You go. So
aye.
I 50-50, and it was fine. And then again, it was just getting your confidence.
Was Hoostra as fast as what he looked like in telly?
Aye,
rapid.
Aye. Especially when you're injured.
Aye, but again, that's it, and he gets your wee brain going. I can get through this here.
So
psychological.
Done that, and then I made my comeback, if you like. My first game I started was my 21st birthday. We played Clyde at home. I scored 2.
Brilliant.
And then all the boys, we all went down to here to the Bobby Jones for my 21st. We all got a minibus. Brilliant. It just happened that way. It was just one of the ones. It was probably what I needed just to get me back, like in a good place.
I think I went to that Bobby Jones and I ended up in Maybole in the morning. So I didn't know where I was. That boy for Glasgow. I'd never been to Ayrshire in my life, and when we went to that place, I ended up waking up in Maybole. So Thanks very much for being 21, mate. I appreciate that.
There's a few stories for that. That's maybe the worst.
So 94, 95, you win the league.
Yep.
Fantastic team. You played nearly every game that year. Did you find then you were just managing your fitness, or were you feeling really on top of the world then?
No, I felt good because I think the boost that you've had wee niggles again.
Aye.
There's always going to be wee problems here and there with maybe a cartilage or something, get in and get it nicked and back out again. But I think with that team, it just kind of pulled you in. The boys in that team, you're
some great guys.
Again, I always say about playing that with Derek McInnes and Yanni Lindberg.
Brilliant.
The two Finns coming over were great.
Rajamaki as well. Brilliant guys.
Marco
lovely.
up front, you get Lully and Hawk. Mad Pickering or Scott McCarthy left back, Derek Collins, Big John or Steve McCarroll, Big Dougie. Davey and Davey's very underrated for me. Davey could have been anything he wanted to, but I think Davey did a good job with Shivers.
He had a brilliant job at Shivers.
And I thought Davey's short stop was different class.
Some
of the highlights now that are still on that gets put on the Morton pages, you see Davey make saves and you're going,
I think he was kind of Peter Schmeichel-esque in the sense of whenever he used to come out, he done that. He just done that big star thing. That
again, I think the thing that might have killed Davey was the pass back thing. Because Davey was happy to pick the ball up and kick it, but when the ball at your feet, it's a totally different
game. A nice bobbly part.
Right through that team.
It's a great team. Great bunch of guys as well. When there's a young guy coming through as well, every single one of them looked after you. And you always used to car share or pick people up or drop people off, and there was always somebody there to help you. And that's what I liked about it. And then you won the league that year, so you'd be going to the PFA Awards. Obviously, there's a wee story that I done a wee bit of research on when you went to the PFA Awards with Picky. Do you remember that one?
Enlighten I'm a
the one in the motor vehicle.
Sleepover? Aye. Wasn't probably one of my best moves, but we went up, parked the car in the multi-story. We've got the dicky bows and stuff on, so I don't know where you would go after. Was it Vicky's or something?
Everybody went to Victoria's,
because you do
the tie on,
and then two boys first year with the day after it. Not today, so ended up going back to the motor. I always had jumpers and stuff in the back of the motor, so Dickie bought the shirt off, jumper on the 2 years. Woke up the next morning, multi-story.
It's brilliant, isn't it? Aye. But they're the stories that you just makes it odd, isn't it? And
Pickering always reminds me of that, man. I'll not tell you the language he uses.
That's right.
My mum might watch this, but I just remember dropping them off back at Sus the next day, and he's staggering out the motor, and I'm obviously.
It's great. See, that's a good time. So, 6 brilliant seasons at Morton. I had you about 137 appearances, 23 goals. Does that sound about right?
I think I actually played.
You played again later on with them again, but in that season, that good season of 6 years. And then, what brought you to Killie?
Well, obviously, I never had the fact I grew up a Kilmarnock supporter. And there was a bit of... We played Kilmarnock in the 97 season. They won the cup. We played them in the quarters, and again, scored 2 goals against them.
He's got beat 3-2.
5-2.
5-2, was it?
5-2. Ended up, Big Macau get sent off right on half time.
Big Stevie.
I'm not blaming Stevie, but that didn't help. You're doing 3-2. We managed to pull 2 goals back. You're doing 3-0, I think we were at half time, pulled 2 goals back. And then all of a sudden, it was collapsed. Scored 2 goals, and then it was rumoured that they were going to sign me at the end of that season. End up signing Bexley.
That's another story, aye.
That's another story. Tightest man ever. But so I just kept my head down and played away. And then again there was wee rumours. And it was funny enough a PFA night. I went to the toilet and Bobby comes in. He gives me that look that only Bobby does. And I signed for us. I went, hey bother, be in touch.
Great, innit?
So
did you tell anybody at that time, or were you just
I just kind of
kept it yourself?
I stayed with Big John Anderson at the time, and him he had a flat, and I was staying with him, and he always tells a story. I come in for that night, and he says, can I walk up, and I boot at his bedroom door open, I'm standing with the talks, and I was like, I've been tapped. He's like, what? So from there on, and it went.
Was that just a phenomenal feeling, like going to play with your boyhood club?
Aye.
Like just you're going in as much as you love Morton. This is you getting to play with Kilmarnock.
And again, I'd have loved to have played in the SPL or whatever it was called there with Morton. We nearly done it, obviously, the year before.
But that was a hard league you were in that year.
Even if we'd have got up, we'd have had to have spent a lot of money.
A lot of money to stay there.
Because they were
Dundee United and
good teams.
Good team.
So I went for... I took a wee bit of stick. I went out and I'll come on and boy, but I took a wee bit of stick. I used to go to Word Up and stuff. And remember one night getting surrounded with these guys, and I'm like, here we go.
Oh, come on.
And they're, you're a traitor. I'm thinking, you're the ones that slaughtered me when I'm playing with Morton.
Absolutely.
Now I'm leaving.
Now I'm a traitor.
But anyway, it was just the way it worked out. So ended up going and speaking to them, and I didn't have an agent. I didn't really have agents as such, but for some reason, Bill McMurdo kind of appeared in a puff of smoke. I don't know if he was a bobbyist, I don't know, but he was trying to do the deal and all that, and then phone call, it was the old house phones, and Big Jai's house phone, Bobby. Paul saying, you want a 2-year deal? I was going to give you 3, and I went, brilliant.
Please sign me up.
He says, I'm in. So went down and signed, and it was brilliant.
Was that a nice contract?
It was decent, but again, even at that age, I'm still not thinking about
the long term.
Because I know there's guys that were there getting more money than me, but I'm getting paid for playing for.
It's brilliant.
Do you know what I mean?
And I think that's lost a wee bit now, isn't it? Like, my son now just wants to play football. I wanted to play football. You wanted to play football. You must have that desire in you, and you can't lose that. I know the heads will get turned, but you must want to play.
If you want to just play football for money,
no, you want to play. You need to play and want to play.
And it sounds a bit kind of corny.
No, it's
cliche,
not.
But
no.
If and don't get me wrong, I done all right. I done well. But again, I'm in working for an hour and a half a day.
Yep.
You're off on a Wednesday. All right. If you're fortunate, you get to work on a Saturday.
Yep.
And then you're off on Sunday. But you're not exactly being asked to do something you don't want to do.
And it's and you love it. There was no better feeling in training, going to training and playing. But
see the amount of times back when even Kilmarnock had the back park before the hotel was built, and we would go back out in Bobby's. I'd be out there with 2 or 3 boys. Maybe it was the John McMaster thing, isn't it? But Bobby's, he's out.
Back in.
Get in. What he's doing? I just out practicing, whatever, just passing the ball about. But you just loved it.
Amazing. So who was the big characters in the changing room at that time when you went to Killie?
Well, that was the year, obviously, Durant and Coisty signed at the same time as me, but already in there, big God Marshall's in goals. Gus McPherson, who's been there for years.
Ali Mitchell.
Bully. Bunyan, me, Paul Wright. I think Mavis, was he away by that time? Or was he? No, Mavis was still there.
And that in my eyes is a Premier League football team.
Holt, it was. Yeah. So that was the year that the squad numbers come into play. So Bobby says, I'm going to just number my strongest team, 1 to 11, and that's who'll be 1 to 11, and the rest will just be like by order of age.
Yep.
I was number 14.
14, yep.
So obviously I wasn't in East, but that's fine because I had to go and prove myself.
Yep.
I was making a step up. But you're looking Melly, Colin Meldrum. He didn't want. He took 12. Nobody wanted 13.
No, of course.
Coisty took it.
Did he take 13?
He took 13. I was 14. Jerome Varai's 15. And then you're looking around the dressing room. You've got Bagan, Buck, Big Lockie, Mark Roberts. But they're all young boys.
Aye.
But they're up to like numbers 24. B Burkow's 25. Lockie's 26. But you look around, you go, that's a decent.
That's a smashing team. Aye.
And it was a big, I don't know if you've
I remember Kelly changing rooms.
The home dressing room.
Aye, the away one wasn't as good, but I played in a West of Scotland thing down there, and I remember the change room being massive, and the part was magic. They had a brilliant support, and
it was just great.
So when you made your debut, what was that like?
My debut.
Did they tell you the day before the team, or did you find out on the day?
Just with Bobby, it was a hard one. Bobby was same team, same subs. If you kept winning, which is fair enough. I actually made my debut, if you like. It was Monty Montgomery's testimonial against Celtic, and I come on, but don't really count that.
No.
We debut, I think, was away in Europe to Zelznica, Bosnia. We drew 1 each over there. So my home debut was the return game, which I scored in. And
what was that feeling like?
It was brilliant. It was probably the worst thing I've ever done, because the fans are probably expecting
that every
week.
Was it not just brilliant? No, was it just?
It was great feeling, but because it was back then, there's 11, 12,000
easy,
people.
That's it. I think one of the games had 13-7 at it.
It's
frightening.
It's a weird Kilmarnock where it was a weird. At times we would have more supporters when we were doing bad. I don't know why. It was like
weird,
doing the bottom of the league. Something was sitting 10th, 11th, and you're getting 12,000 people. But so I don't know if they were there to try and rally.
The PR doing their job.
And get all the school wins and everything just to try and generate.
Of course,
but I love my time there. It was just
different class.
I think for the family as well, just going down and seeing and being there. Because
your parents must have been proud.
But we all grew up. Well, my dad's from Northern Ireland, and he came into Kilwinning, so right where you're thinking, come on, go support one team. But my dad, apparently, I've got 2 older brothers, and he always says, I'm not having you supporting the old firm. I want you to support the local team. So it's Kilmarnock, thankfully. They were closer than the other lot. So
I've had stories on before in my podcast about the other team. Did you ever play them for Kelly? And did you beat them?
Nah.
No, they bet you many times, was it? Twice?
A couple of times.
That's right.
Once in the Scottish, actually.
They bet you in the Scottish.
3-0.
Actually, I think I was in telly that one. But obviously, with me being away and doing your own thing and your part-time football life, you still keep your eye on all the guys you played with over the years, and some of the guys had brilliant, absolute phenomenal careers, and I would include you in that, Al. But whenever the game was on, you would always watch your mate to see
just to see
how they got on, and I knew that would have been a sore one. And I worked with a guy that was an Ayr fan, and he always laughs about it, and I always say, well, they've been in the Premier longer than you know. So
I think we just gave them a wee boost.
It's great. I love the finish seat stories and stuff like that. So you played, we were talking about it earlier, one of the seasons just shy of 40 games. Gordon Marshall and Ali Mitchell 40 plus. I mean, that's nearly every game. How was your fitness then? Your knee, everything just
seemed to be fine.
Were you sore after it then? Were you?
No, I'd probably be on the Sunday. I would always have a bath on Sunday morning, just relax in a bath. If I could, unless my wee fella would jump in alongside me. It was 18 at the time. I was saying it. No, I'm not looking. No, but I used to lie in the bath, he'd hear the door open, the wee fella come in and jump in.
Brilliant.
But it was just to relax and just think, right, we go again type thing. But footballers, I would rather play than train. So there's probably loads of midweek games and stuff, and cup games, and probably European games as well in there. But you would rather just play.
I think every footballer would probably say that. They just want to play.
Just keep playing, and if you're doing all right, you must be doing all right if you're getting picked every week. Then I think that was a year. I missed 2 games. One of them, I don't know if I was suspended. Another game, my dad had passed away, and that was why I missed it. But that was only 2.
Only 2 games,
And you just think, if I had done that, obviously you can. You need to fight your way into the team, but you're just thinking, if you do that for day one, that's some amount of appearances you're there if you can avoid it. But that just shows you when injury comes in, or you're not playing great, and you get dropped.
And this is a kind of part of the podcast. It's to realise that people have fantastic careers, but it's been a journey for a lot of folk, and it's been difficult. And there's dark days and there's brilliant days, but that's why I think you savour the success. I think more than anything.
What I'll say to people is, like, I work in a school now. I'm a PSA, classroom assistant in a school, and the Waynes will go away, and as soon as you find out, you Wayne go, oh, hey, Mr. Mahood, I heard you done this, What size is your house? You got a big motor? Much will you make? That's good, but they don't. No, I'm going, I was getting 30 quid a week at Kilmarnock, and they must go away and they come back. My mum's on 20 quid an hour, and I'm saying, well, she's doing well.
She's doing really well.
But what I'll say to them is, people don't realise, they all think football is great, you get a lot of money, you're always winning, you're doing this, you're doing that. but it's when you're injured.
Aye.
And you're in the gym yourself.
Aye, it's a lonely place, isn't it?
Aye, and it's just you and the physio, and you're starting to think,
Aye.
if I hear him say to me once more, do this, and you're, but obviously doing it for your benefit and for the club's benefit, but it doesn't feel like that. You're in doing double stints and you're in the gym. I mean, the best I looked and felt was
when you were injured.
I was injured.
Aye, it's bizarre, isn't it?
Rattling out 100 press-ups, but I mean, I couldn't even do 3 now, but you're doing that at the end and you're going,
that's right.
It's
the desire to get back to playing it.
But it's just because of this injury, you can't do it.
So you played with some brilliant players, Ian Durrant. How did you find playing in beside Ian then?
Well,
was it similar to playing with Derek? Were they similar
very
players?
Similar. For me, Durrant, he would take the ball anywhere. That was his thing. Just big marks would come out, catch the ball, and Durrant is standing beside him inside our 18-yard box going, give me it.
Just give me it, aye.
Don't get on it. But he could deal with it.
Aye.
But again, when I first went there, Bobby apparently thought me and Durrant couldn't play together. I'm no too similar, beginning me a big compliment, but he thought we were maybe that way. And then it was one day at Dundee, and I always remember it. We're shooting down the hill, if you like.
Aye, that's right, down the wee slope.
Aye, and one of their defenders had tried to clear it and came to me, and I've seen Durrant there and I've cushioned it. And Durrant, he's trying to slow it and he's put it over the bar. And apparently Bobby's on the bench, and me Burkie told me this because he was on the bench, and he says, oh, maybe they two can play together.
Aye.
And after that, it was no every week.
But they kept his.
It was kind of Durrant, at one point, Durrant, excuse me, John Henry, Zippy. And Durrant would go like that, right, come in here for 10 minutes and I'll go wide. So you're in the middle and you're going, I'm the man here. So it gives you a wee
confidence.
After 10 minutes. When you belong in swap, especially if you're doing all right.
Some player the way.
Oh, brilliant. Aye. I wouldn't mind playing with him if.
Aye.
And then I've said to him a few times, we've been out a couple of beers, and I've said, what do you think? We must regret it. But it's what we spoke about. He says, there's nothing I can do to change that. But I think he had Italian teams that lined up, and he was ready to go. And
he'd have been one of the greatest midfielders. He is, in my opinion, one of the greatest midfielders, but he could have dominated Europe.
When you see how well the boys are doing out in Italy just now, the Scottish boys, you
it's
think
brilliant.
The language might have been a big...
Aye, but Billy Gilmour's and Scott McTominay are different class, and you're talking about guys that take the ball. When we were at Morton, that was you.
Aye. Well,
so you took the ball in the areas where you're thinking, but then you learn for that. You learn how to cope and move on. But
look, you're saying to Durrant, it would give you a comment. I wouldn't be shy telling you if you weren't doing it right. But there was times when you've done it and he's... Aye, well done.
Oh, yeah, that's you.
That was a big compliment. That's good enough. Aye.
Well done for doing your job. Aye. So you scored a famous goal for Kelly. I'm still not sure it was your goal, but you're going to tell me it was. Drive into the box, to get you into the...
That was mine. I've looked at footage 100 times, definitely, especially in my life. But
great cross, was it? Jacko?
Jacko crossed it. Big Chris Innes played it out wide, and Jacko's ran. And then it's just one of the ones I thought, I'll just try and get in the box.
Aye.
I think it was... is it Tebley and Rudy Varga?
Big Varga. Aye.
And
just thought just big boys.
Aye. And then took the hit. I think it was Rod Douglas was in goal, actually. And it just trundled.
Aye. Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. So that was a good wee.
Great goal.
Good one to have.
That was 2001.
That goes into Europe.
And that was some Celtic team then.
Aye, good.
That was big team, big strong.
Aye, so massive.
And before the show, you'd went on to a couple of other clubs, Ross County and St Johnstone, and it's not being disrespectful to them, but did you find that when you left Killie, it was kind of going to go downhill a wee bit for you then?
I think, again, no disrespect to the clubs, I think my heart was in it more than the clubs, kind of. But again, it was Ross County. It was Big Lockie and me, Burkie, Big Colin Stewart were up there at the time, and Alex Smith was the manager, and Lockie phoned me and he says, you fancy it? And I decent. And I knew boys were up there and they were getting looked after because you're having to move. And so I went up for a couple of weeks, stayed with Burkie. And Alex Smith says, look, I'll give you a contract to Christmas just to see how it goes. He says, but you can't come up yourself, you need to bring your
family with you.
Which wasn't an option.
No.
So that didn't work out. And then me Mark Dunnicky, who was at Morton.
Mark,
he got me into St Johnstone. John Connolly was the manager, but I remember going into the dressing room and I was like, Sucky Hall Street.
They signed a lot of players, didn't they?
Going, what's going on here? So I, again, didn't really play there, but I was travelling like 2.5 hours
Where were
every
you,
day.
Erskine at that time?
Aye, so I was travelling for there. Met a couple other boys, big Michael Moore and Ross Forsyth. Met Big Dinky on the way, Kevin Rikovic picked him up if he was there or no.
Yep.
And you get through, but and my knees, obviously, that's one of the reasons I wasn't at Kilmarnock anymore, because my knees were back.
A couple of hours up the road. And
through there, and I'm falling out, and then I'm coming back and then doing it again. I was like, I can't keep doing this. So again, contacted wee Marky, and I was like, mate, I can't do this. So he spoke to Morton, and I went, it was one of the ones, that'll do. I don't mean that disrespectfully, but I thought, that is right on my doorstep.
10 minutes, 15 minutes
They were training at the Quarryers Village.
I was training there then, so it's 5-10 minutes up the road.
So,
brilliant.
Leaving the house, training gear on, going there,
Magic.
training, back up. But again, I was thinking, and there were some good players at the time, me, Jane, Jim McCaster, these boys were all there. And I thought, my heart's not on this anymore. And I don't know if it was maybe, again, the old romanticist, but I don't know if it was because you'd left a club like Kilmarnock, who you were, that was your kind of delighted. And then that kind of get pulled away from you, and all of a sudden you're thinking, is this it? And I always remember, it was Jim McAnally was the manager, and he was bringing boys in just to free them. And I was, so for talk's sake, he was bringing boys in on the Monday that was freeing, and then the boys on the Tuesday was keeping. I was on the Tuesday, and I'm thinking, that's strange.
What's happening here,
I'm thinking, wonder why he's brought me in today. And I was sitting in Big John Tierney, was back at that time. And they were all going in one at a time. The rest of us were playing table tennis or pool, just waiting to see what the fate was. And I was waiting to get in, and Big John Tierney, totally innocent, says to me, so what are you going to do with yourself now? No, what do you mean? He's like, nothing. I went, thanks, Big Man.
Mate.
Like,
Thanks.
Don't you have to out of that. No. So I went in, and it was Jim McCann was talking about going to Albion Rovers as player manager. I know the chairman. I was going, phone me.
So unprofessional though.
And then like I had a couple of folk. Wee Bunyan was doing it at buffs at the time. Phoned me about getting in there. Rab Riley, don't know if you know Rab.
No.
Oh, Rab. So phone rings one morning about 7:30. Picks it up. I just about say, how do me, man? All right, you man, Rab Riley, man. Everything all right, you man? How's it going, you man? All right, good. And I'm going like that.
What's going on here?
I thought it was somebody time of the morning. So Rab was in it. I think he was in with Robert Connor in the air as assistant manager or something. So Rab's like, just to see if you want to come in and train with us. And I went, no really, Rab. He's like, but come on, we're local to you. And I went, Rab, I'm in Erskine. All right. I was like, what? Could you petrol money? Maybe we can't. I went, and don't get me wrong, it's not a team I'd have played for anyway. But that was kind of, and I just thought, I'm not. And it was boys at that time who I spoke to were saying, they just go junior, they're good sign-on fees.
Of course.
See, once you get a sign-on fee, they'll get it in cash. Just wait a couple of weeks and then go, I'm not loving this. I went, I couldn't do that.
No, that's not your makeup.
That's not right.
So your career started at Morton and ended at Morton. And what a fantastic career it's been. And I've kind of asked you to do something and you don't want to follow it with folks, so I'd kind of asked you maybe if you managed to get round a team.
Do you know what?
Of players. And there's too many.
There's too many.
Too many.
So I started at the goalie. Players we played against. And I was thinking, right, so you've got Stefan Kloss, was it?
Phenomenal at Rangers.
Rangers. Also played against Gorham, who for me was maybe a wee bit better than Kloss. Just
right, was he?
Short stopping and stuff. I love Kloss because I thought he was like a wee FIFA guy. Like he used to run and stop the ball. But when I seen some of the stuff that Gorham done, and you think, I mean, on the park ups.
But that was a tester for you because obviously I've kind of looked at, I mean, some of the players, and even Stan Petrov and De Boer as well.
De Boer's, that was another one. Sometimes you didn't play for a couple of weeks and then you're playing the old firm and Bobby bring you out the cupboard. Right, you're going to man mark De Boer. You're like, so the Ibrox. So De Boer done this thing, he'd go that way, but turn, it was the kind of moles thing. Chop him down, yellow. You look up at the clock and it's like 85 to go.
Oh,
and
no.
Oh.
Aye.
And then Petrov again, just like match his runs. You're going, hey, but they used to do a thing as well when Didier Agat played on one wing and Bobby Pett was another. And at this time I was a kind of sitting midfielder. And we used to practice out in the back part, and Bob would say, see when the ball gets out wide and Gus goes out to Petter, you going back him
shuttle,
up.
Aye,
and if the ball gets across there and it's you going back, need a motorbike to get. But that was just a job you were given, and you were trusted to do it. So
you done it.
But again, I was coming up the train, and that's what I'm thinking, right, played against Loudrups and your Gascoignes and Larsons and Lenny and Lambert in the middle. And for me, for Celtic, Moravchik
was he hands on?
Different class.
Aye.
See a guy that can go and take a corner, then go to the other side and take it with the other foot swingers.
And his ball control and movement and
brilliant.
Different class.
Brilliant.
You obviously Rugby Park's your favourite stadium, obviously.
Obviously. Not with that.
What was the best stadium, do you think you kind of played it? For atmosphere?
With Kilmarnock?
Aye.
Probably Parkhead.
Parkhead, was it?
Aye, because I had this thing, I don't know why, again, footballers, daft superstitions and all that. I used to be last out of the team whenever we were thinking. And I always remember standing in the tunnel at Parkhead, and obviously the captains were already out. And by the time you couldn't hear anything,
the noise,
just a
noise.
Aye, but it was, you couldn't describe it unless you've been, and you couldn't speak to somebody, you're shouting at somebody beside you, but you couldn't hear you.
Couldn't hear it.
But again, that's the stadiums you want to play in.
Of course,
you want to play in these.
And would you, at that point, you're sitting there, did you ever reflect? I know we're reflecting now, but did you ever reflect like later on, I'm playing at Ibrox, I'm playing at Parkhead, I'm playing at...
I think it was more like your pals would, so you would go and then maybe go out on a Saturday night or go meet the boys on a Sunday or whatever, and they would be going, brilliant.
Seen you last night? Aye.
Well, I always remember one, we played at Parkhead, nothing each, right up to usual Celtic about 95th minute, in the big board feeder reset. I'm a corner, I'm probably on the post, and he's jumped up and his knees are a bit the height of my head. And he's put one in 1-0, beat us, and I was getting out in Gourock that night to one of the boys' wedding receptions, and they're all Rangers men doing in Gourock. I remember walking in, they're all giving me pelters.
You gave the goal away, mate.
Aye, 97.
Aye.
But that was just good.
That was good banter, I know.
It was good because the boys knew, like, they knew when to lay off you as well. There's times when they seen your face and go,
just leave them a day.
So there'd be times I would don't talk to me on a Saturday night. But
you've had a phenomenal career, 309 appearances, 55, 62, 64 goals.
So it would have been more
if you counted a few others, but what a career. And you can't. For my younger listeners, before we tie up, what kind of advice would you give them?
I think sounds a wee bit old school, but respect your elders and listen to what they're telling you. Because see the guys that beat, like when I was at Morton, it was the McDonald's and all these guys at Gagans that have been there and done it. They're trying to tell you something for a reason. It's not just like to make themselves feel better, it's to help you out. And if somebody gives you that advice, take it on board. You might not like it, but boys don't. Everybody likes a pat on the back and tell how well they're doing. Boys don't like to be told you could do this a wee bit better. There's obviously a way to tell boys how to do something. I don't believe in all shouting in the face, but if somebody's taking time out of their day, like John used to do with us, to show you how to pass a ball, or how to where to sit in, just take it on board and move on. And is that going to help you, the kids locally, for the one-to-one coaching that you're doing now? What I do with the coaching is I try and every session is tailored towards individual. So that's the good thing with one-to-one, because a lot of parents bring them to me because they're maybe training with 16, 18 other ways and they get one kick every year and a half. Whereas it's not great for my body, but I like to do like wee touching passes with them and stuff, and I'm enjoying it. Aye, brilliant. Hopefully they are as well. But I've took a wee break just now, just over the winter and that. But,
and then be back.
My wife says I have to start it back soon.
Good.
Get out her,
Great.
get her feet.
Well, thanks very much, Alan.
Oh, thanks for having me.
I really enjoyed it. Well, that's it, folks. Thank you very much. Thanks so much to Alan. Down in Greenock, or if you're in that area, look out for Alan's one-to-one coaching. Start back April.
Well, as soon as the wife tells me.
As soon as the wife tells him. Please check out my socials. Please subscribe to YouTube. I know there's hundreds of you listening on the podcast, but please just jump onto YouTube and subscribe, please. And thank you so much for listening. Stay tuned for the upcoming guests in the next couple of months. And Scottish football, keep smiling.